The California Bears go into South Georgia and pull off a recruiting shocker. Are you serious? For a defensive lineman? That's next on the Portal Podcast.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal news. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console is needed. Head over to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. I didn't see this one coming. Started doing my notes last night and going through the commitments for the last few days, writing down some things. And there it is. A big-time commitment for the Cal Bears in South Georgia. That'll be the lead to the show. We'll get into that in a second. But we have a long list. I'm going to go back to about Thursday, just trying to catch up because of all the portal stuff. I haven't really done a recruiting show exclusively here recently. There's a lot of interesting commitments to go over. And we also need to talk about the commitments that are coming up. There's a few elite guys that have public announcement dates that will be discussed here on the Portal Podcast. But again, let us start with the Cal Bears, the team that has been just destroyed in the portal. They've lost like what day was 4-5 running backs to the portal. Pretty much everybody left, among other players. But that didn't stop them from going and getting Cameron Brooks, defensive lineman out of Thomas County Central. Year before last, they won the 6A state title in the state of Georgia. That is a dominant program, ironically. Former Heisman winner and Florida State Seminole legend, Charlie Ward, played there, so you would think Florida State would be in it, and they were. They had an official visit lined up. So did Clemson. So did Ohio State. And other schools like Florida, Georgia, etc. I'm sure would have been more than happy to have taken Cameron Brooks' commitment. This is a kid everybody knew about for the last few years. This is a kid I've been talking about for the last few years. Big-time defensive lineman. Great guy. Loves football. Can pass rush as a big defensive end. He fits all the check boxes for what you're looking for. I don't care what kind of defense you run. Athletic, big-bodied defensive ends never go out of style. Brooks is roughly 245, 250. The last time I spoke to him, and he was just a menace when I went and saw them play last year. I saw him practice, then I went and saw him play. That's a guy that not many high school guys can handle. Offensive tackles just aren't athletic enough or ready technically for him, and he's been coached well. Thomas County Central is one of the best high school football programs in the country. And they also have his teammate committed at Cal. I get it. But this is the top of the board. And here's what I've been told. Cal has just put in the work. I say it all the time. Relationships, and relationships are your top three factors for getting players. People think it's just NIL. That's not true. NIL can be the one that splits the hair at the end, or if it's just unbelievable, like what Bryce Underwood got from Michigan. If you're going to offer like $5 million more than somebody, okay, I get it. But that's not what this was. From what I am told, and I love that program, and I love South Georgia football as much, if not more than any other place in the country. Love it. I follow it very closely. Cam Brooks picked Cal because of the effort the California Bears put in to recruiting him. From what I'm told, they have just made a very concerted effort to recruit that area. It's called hard work. It is still shocking, though. Out of all the commitments so far in the top 250, Cam Brooks is probably, he is far and away the biggest surprise. Again, congrats to the Cal Bears staff. I still need to see this follow through and him signed as like any other big-time D-line recruit, because nobody's going to stop recruiting Cameron Brooks. He's too good. But the Cal Bears go into South Georgia. And to put it in perspective, for those who don't know where Thomasville is, it's about 30 minutes from Tallahassee, where Florida State is actually located. Literally about 30 minutes. Straight shot. That is not a good look for the Florida State Seminoles, the Georgia Bulldogs, Clemson, anybody. Ohio State was thought to be right there for him. None of those schools should lose a top D lineman to Cal if he's from the South. Period. But it happens. Recruiting is wild. You just never know. And that's why I love it. And that's why I follow it so closely. And I enjoy bringing it to you. Now let's do a little bit of a rundown over the last, so maybe Thursday of last week. There was a flip that was pretty interesting. Cody Green flipped from Oregon to Washington. He's at Mater Dei High School, West Coast, out there just outside of LA, one of the best programs, and not the best program in the country over the last, say, 30, 35 years. Mater Dei would probably be my pick. Everybody recruits it. Oregon does a great job of recruiting there too, but they lost Cody Green, one of my favorite offensive linemen in this class. The Huskies pull it off. That's a really big flip. Congrats to the Washington staff. You get kids like that, it changes your program because there just aren't very many good offensive tackles in the portal. Cody Green could be a guy that plays as a freshman for the Huskies. Next, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this name, but I'm going to try. From the state of Utah and from Lone Peak High School, Bat Muliatalo. This is an interior offensive lineman that is a national recruit. He's going to Brigham Young. BYU has built their roster on power, playing downhill on both sides of the ball. They're not looking to change based on getting a 4-star recruit from their state that was, quite honestly, probably a guy that could have went just about anywhere he wanted out west. Rodney White, defensive lineman from Maryland. This is surprising. Now you know Indiana's starting to recruit a little different. He's not super highly ranked, but a kid just outside of Baltimore, and he's a 280-pound defensive lineman. The Hoosiers pulling out. Tight end, Amari Towns from my area, from Selma, Alabama, is going to Purdue. 6'6", 220. Congrats to the Boilermakers. They have certainly been very active in the portal, and they're looking to change some things there. Staying in the state of Alabama, just because there's so many good kids that get underrated by a mile. Dominic White, out of Minor High School in Adamsville, Alabama, is going to South Alabama. These are the kinds of kids in 2 years, you hear about them going to the portal, end up at a big-time school. This state, not enough teams come down here because they're afraid of not being able to get guys away from Auburn and Alabama. Well, they can't take them all. This state is loaded. If you are not recruiting the state of Alabama ardently, you are failing. Tamarian Stewart, Mona Shores High School in Muskegon, Michigan's going to Miami of Ohio. 5'11", 210 pounds. Congrats to him. Muskegon area has always had some good players. Indiana, with one of the best players in the state of Indiana, staying home from Decatur Central right there in Indianapolis. Casimir Hicks, he could play receiver or corner or free safety. That's one of my favorite players in the Midwest. Hoosiers keep him home, and they also keep Jacob Savage close to home. He's from Kentucky. That's a little surprising that he didn't have at UK or Louisville. But again, Indiana is doing some pretty good work. So linebacker Jacob Savage is going to Indiana. Deshaun Ackerman, out of the state of Oklahoma and Oklahoma City, Putnam City High School, going to K-State. Kansas State is a team that's very sneaky with their evaluations. They don't miss near as much as some other programs, and that's why they don't always recruit at a high level, but they find a way to get it done. They do a tremendous job with their evals. Troy Pless, Shoemaker High School in Killeen, Texas, not that far from Dallas. He's going to Houston. They don't normally get a whole lot of kids from that area of the state, but that's a nice pickup for them. Again, linemen are not plentiful in the portal. He's a 6'5", 295-pounder. If you can get your offensive tackles, especially in-state, by all means, do it. Speaking of offensive tackles, from New Jersey, Roseby Lubentis, 6'5", 300. He's going to Penn State. He's from Timber Creek High School in Sicklerville, New Jersey. He had several offers, Syracuse, among others. He's going to play for Penn State, though. They have done a great job assembling their offensive line over the last couple of years, and they've done it through the high school ranks. This is another big body guy to add to the pile. We'll see how he does. Markel Ford at a Horn High School in Mesquite, just outside of Dallas, a safety Staying pretty close to home, he's going to SMU. As I detailed a little bit yesterday in an overview about top cornerbacks and which programs do the best, Aiden Pouncey from Winter Park, which is basically right in the middle of Orlando, is going to Notre Dame. He's going to play corner for Mike Mickens, one of the best, if not the best, defensive back coach in the country. He likes him at corner, and this kid's over 6'2", elite player. Florida, Miami, and just about everybody in the SEC and Big Ten would have loved to have had Aiden Pouncey. Big pickup for the Irish. Brandon Murray, athlete, 6'1", 180 pounds, Battlefield out of Haymarket, Virginia, going to Rutgers. They've made a little bit of an effort, Rutgers has, to get into the state of Virginia. That's a really important pickup for them. Michigan, this is one of, if not the most important of all the commitments I'm going to talk about today. Brady Smigiel is going to play for the Wolverines. He's just outside of Los Angeles at Newberry Park. Big-bodied quarterback, 6'5", 200-plus pounds. Great kid. Had an opportunity to get to know Brady last year at Under Armour's Future 50. Really good guy, and I think that he's going to fit the Michigan offense to a T. He likes to throw the ball down the field a lot. Michigan's run game, with their ability to use play action, fits him to a T. Great pickup for Michigan. Speaking of, Tariq Boney, St. John's High School, a longtime program in the D.C. area. 230-pound defensive end Tariq Boney is going to Michigan. They get an edge. Speaking of representing, how about this? Arizona State. Do you think running backs would be interested in Arizona State after Scatterboo last year? Carde Mack at Atascocita in Humble, Texas, just north of Houston, commits to the Sun Devils, 5'9", 195. I would say at this point, Arizona State knows how to scout the running back position. Damari Roberts out of Lakewood High School, one of the most famous programs on the Sun Coast. He is headed to USF, staying close to home, 6'3", 160 pounds. He stays home with the Bulls. Lucas Schenefeld, Peters Township, Cannonsburg, PA. He's going all the way out to Stanford. He's an underrated edge, 6'4", 230 pounds. Good for them. And then once again, as we noted to start the show, Cam Brooks, defensive edge, 200. He's almost 250. 24/7, doesn't have his height weight right. He's been over 240 for a long time. Cam Brooks, Thomas County Central, Thomasville, Georgia, is picking the Cal Bears. Did anybody really see that coming? You never know. And just for good measure, U-Price, Montgomery Bell Academy, very good program, 6'5", about 200 pounds, going to Southern Miss. Congrats to him. When we come back, there are a few guys that are going to be making their decisions, and these aren't just good players. These are the guys that can kind of transcend who ends up top 5 in the recruiting rankings, who ends up winning national championships. We're going to be talking about that next here on the Portal Podcast. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. FanDuel, it makes it easy. Whether it's going against the line and you think that you're going to get the upset, or you think you're going to pick the right player prop. Personally, for basketball, I like 3-point shots because that's what I did when I was a kid. I loved to shoot threes. So how many points a guy's going to get, how many threes he's going to hit, or you could do steals, you could do assists, you could do rebounds, and there's a lot of different ways beyond just the normal point spread. So even if you don't get your bet in before the game starts, you can also do live betting on that game, including props. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. There are some really big decisions coming up. Some that I think will kind of help figure out the top 10 order minimum and possibly top 3 or 4, maybe top 5. These are guys that are elite. And I'm curious to see where they go because their decisions are really important because the dominoes behind them at running back, quarterback, etc., are going to be there. I just want to talk about a handful. For one, Malcolm Gaston, offensive tackle, 330-pounder. There's always guys that are desired at that size. He's got his decision coming up on the 2nd. Right now, commitment watch, it looks like Georgia is the favorite. We'll see what happens with that, but they like their massive defensive linemen, their massive offensive linemen. So Malcolm Gaston out of North Augusta in South Carolina. Looks like he's going to go pick Georgia, but you never know. Next up, running back Javion Osborne out of Forney, Texas, just east of Dallas. Elite player, saw him at Under Armour. He's going to make his announcement on the 3rd of May. Notre Dame or Michigan? Obviously, both schools understand the running back position based on what they've done the last few years, and they both have elite running back coaches. Jawan Sider at Notre Dame, Tony Alford at Michigan. Both great guys by all accounts. And to be honest, this is an interesting scenario because Osborne is an all-around back. He can catch, he can run, he can block, he's got deep speed. Like he can get in that secondary against a 170-pound corner and outrun him. He will beat you in a number of ways. Sounds like Notre Dame is the likely pick, but he recently visited Michigan again. Is that going to get the Wolverines over the top? I don't know, but that's a big-time player. Jared Curtis, this is the one that everybody has been talking about. 6'4", 225 pounds, big arm. He's at a Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee. He's a top 10 prospect by most accounts. Some don't have him quite there, but he's an elite player and probably the best pure arm talent in the class of 26. Is it Georgia or is it Oregon? Jared Curtis is a guy that is going to be making his decision coming up on May 5th. So we're right around the corner for him too. We're about a week away. And then there's also Jackson Cantwell, maybe the most unique player in this class because not one, but both of his parents are Olympians. And they did it in track and field with like shot and disc. And even though his dad's a massive guy, met him, great guy, when Jackson stands next to his dad, he's way bigger. He's about 6'7", 6'8". He's 300 plus pounds, and he's just an incredible offensive tackle. Out of Nixon, Missouri, down in the southwest part of that state, one of the greatest kids I've ever had the opportunity to interview, and he could end up being the first pick in the NFL draft at some point. He's that rare left tackle that will be a 10-plus year player. Really enjoyed getting to know Jackson Cantwell, and I wish him the best. But Miami, Georgia, there's a crystal ball for Georgia. There's a pick. Some people were saying Oregon. Some say Miami. It's all over the place. At this point, I'm just going to wait and see where he goes. But Oregon, they could get Curtis and Cantwell, or they could miss on both. Miami, if they get Cantwell, they've got a really good shot at Pepe, the other elite offensive tackle. He's from IMG. If they got both them, that would be as good a bookend combination that I can remember in several years. That would be elite for the Hurricanes. There's all kinds of ways this could go. And obviously, after last year's debacle towards the end of the season, Georgia needs offensive linemen that can help immediately. Jackson Cantwell would be a part of that. So we'll see how that goes. But there are some big-time decisions coming up very, very soon. And we'll talk about more guys coming up, but I just wanted to get through that. That's over the next couple of weeks. Cantwell's decision is May 13th. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. We're going to have a couple more shows coming up today, tomorrow, that are going to be similar to this. Plus, I'm going to have a show on Wisconsin and many other programs talking about the recruiting halls in combination with what did you get out of the spring portal, at least thus far? Are you still looking? We've got a lot more coming up here on the Portal Podcast, so give us a 5-star review on Apple and wherever you get a chance to download your pods on the go, whether you're going to the gym, long drive, whatever. And we're available on YouTube too. We will see you again soon on the Portal Podcast.